Good. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, it says it's live.
Yep.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Green Party, the Illinois Green Party series. I'm the host, David Rich. We have a special guest on tonight, John Serrano, Green Party candidate for 10th Congressional District in New Jersey. Mr. Serrano, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am doing absolutely amazing. I'm
Good.
honestly honored to be on the show because I'm one of the first Green 13 to be on this podcast. So
That's
I'm
great.
excited.
Yeah, and I'm excited too. Like I mentioned before we aired, I really like interviewing Green Party members from across the country. And again, we're the Green Party is in 72 other countries. Like it's a global party.
Right.
And I've reached out to some here and there. Um, no response, but that's okay. I'll keep trying. I'm sure they're busy people. Anyway, we got Catherine B saying, "How y'all doing?" I'm doing great. Um,
That's
good.
one of my friends.
Cool. No, good. That's great. I'm glad you reached out. The viewership of the show is almost always contingent upon the guest, and if they reach out to their constituents, if you will.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. Good Samaritan LT. Hello from New Jersey. Let's go Green 13. Okay. Ciripeti. Ciripettie. Just I don't know,
Waving.
some sort of
Just
icon.
a
I don't know.
nice little wave over
Yeah.
there.
Okay. There you go. Brooklyn Moreno. John 2024. Catherine B. John. Woo. Mabel Torres, hello. Sarah Petty, hey Ariel. Here, oh it's Ariel. Okay, hey Ariel.
Hi, Barry.
All right, great. Well, let's get into it. So I always, when I have another Green Party member on, I always like to ask how you came to the Green Party because it's going to like a third party, whether it be Libertarian or Green Party, it's always like a very purposeful trek to it. People in the duopoly, the Democrats and Republicans, tend to like just like follow like their heritage, what their parents believe. Not always, but
Yeah.
usually. So how did you come to be a Green Party member?
Well, it was actually really funny because I had posted a TikTok announcing my candidacy to run for Congress. And someone from the Green Party who works with the Green Party, who's in the chat right now, Ariel,
Hey,
they had found me on TikTok. And from there, they messaged me and we moved forward talking more about the Green Party because at first I was running as a Democrat. And
okay.
then I ended up wanting to run as an independent because my ideas didn't really align with the Democratic Party and, my research and understanding of everything. So it was definitely, I was hopping back and forth with where I want to align myself. And it was as if, the universe had just thrown something right in front of me and said, what about this party?
Yeah.
And I have been so eager and so excited to start. And, this is literally the first day that I'm publicly announcing my campaign with the Green Party.
Wow.
So it's a big deal.
That's great. Well, I'm honored that you're doing it here with us. That's great. Yeah. So and they're UC candidates. I have a lot of local politician friends who are disgruntled with their, participation in mostly Democrats, in the Democratic Party, but they don't know what else to do. They're afraid of not getting the funding or the recognition and that kind of thing. And that's why I think that, third parties, raising their profile is so important. We have Jill Stein, which is very helpful in raising, we had Ralph Nader back in 2000 and, it's really good that they're getting our name out there, which is cool. Especially during this election, because this is a hot one, man. Oh my god!
This election is gonna be one of the toughest elections ever, and that's what made me, in all honesty, that's what made me realize that I needed to do something. Because I'm, if I could just go back and give you a reason why I even started looking into politics. In 2016, that was a big election, and the world took a turn from then on. I was only a junior in high school in 2016. Yeah, so I'm still young. And once I had seen what had started to happen and what started to accumulate over the years, come 2020 during the pandemic and one of the most stressful elections ever, I had realized that I wanted to get into politics. So I started studying politics. I went to Montclair State University with a major in political science. Just to,
Perfect.
educate myself in a really non-biased perspective, because that's exactly how they teach you in a political science major. And I wanted to go into the political field without any bias. I wanted to go in there and be able to formulate all my opinions and basically let everyone know that they are 100% valid for the way that they feel. And from then on, politics, I haven't been able to get into the political field because I haven't known where to start. And this time around, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bet everything that I have and put myself out there because that's how we get things done.
Yes. Yeah, no, good for you. I applaud your ambition and your courage. Politics isn't easy. So good for you. So describe your district to us a bit. Like, what's going on there that you're like focused on?
Well, right now, one of the things that I'm focused on is our median household income is about over $60,000 a year. That's something that to me is unlivable in a sense,
Yeah.
because I would not even be able to imagine living off of $60,000. Like paying like making $60,000 a year is not enough for the average family to survive, to pay rent, to eat, groceries, utilities, everything. We need much better jobs in our district where they have livable wages. Right now, statistically, it's 98, 99% urban. I grew up going through the 10th district. I'm from the 9th district originally, but even my parents, they met in Newark, New Jersey, which is a part of the 10th district. So I wouldn't be here. I really truly wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
Hmm.
That is one of the biggest connections I have with the 10th district.
Mhm.
Montclair State University is, also a big connection to
Mhm.
who I am and who I have become. Um, as for the population, we have I believe it's over 768,000 residents in our congressional district. And also, I happen to see a lot of pollution that's been going on the streets in the 10th district. I mean, all around the country, of course, pollution is such a big issue. It is such a big deal to me that I want our streets to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And the 10th district, if I could start there and work my way to the top, 10th district is where I'm going to start.
All right, good for you. That's awesome. Yeah, pollution is a huge problem. I mean, not even including climate change, which is a separate issue because it's carbon dioxide based.
Right.
But just pollution, litter, that kind of thing, water, fertilizer and synthetic chemical runoff into areas. I was just reading today more of a book called Limits to Growth, and it's all this mathematical analysis of societies, what they do, and that kind of thing. Like there are 61 dead zones in the planet, which means that like Mississippi has one. The Mississippi in the Gulf of Mexico, it covers like 8,000 acres of like just deadness. Like there's just we get it's all from like farming fertilizer and synthetic chemical runoff into the Mississippi down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
And it's literally killed an area of 8,000 acres. It's crazy. That's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane what our planet is currently going through. You know,
No, it
the
is.
crisis is real. And
Yes.
that's another reason I joined the Green Party, because I was driving with my dad the other day through Paterson, New Jersey, which is not a part of the 10th district, but it's a part of the 9th. And that's also where I grew up originally. We were driving through and I noticed all the pollution and all like just dead trees and, all of this, for lack of better terms, garbage
Yeah.
is just ruining our environment.
Right.
In all honesty, whenever I think about New Jersey and how our slogan is like we're the Garden State, I haven't been seeing much representation of us being the Garden State and
Right.
us filling the stereotype of being the smelly armpit of the United States. And
Right.
I don't want us to do that. I want to be one of the people who will step forward and make sure that we present ourselves as we are named.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because I'm in Illinois, obviously, and we're called the Prairie State, right? And that's because like something like 40% of Illinois was prairie, and because of agricultural practices and commercial farming and stuff, it's like we're below like 2% now.
Right.
It's
It's
insane.
absolutely insane what is happening to this country. And, they're just filling also. I'm just looking at, I believe it's Barry's comment says farms are being replaced by townhouses. That
Yep.
is 100% correct.
Yep.
That is, we are just constantly filling empty spaces, dead zones. There's like that may be maybe purposely killed, just for townhouses and for
Hmm.
these exquisite and expensive homes that people can't afford.
Right.
Only the rich are able to afford. So how do you expect to fill these townhouses and apartment complexes?
Right.
It's It's something that is outrageous. And that is another thing that I want to bring to the 10th Congressional District. It's affordable housing.
Yeah.
Because just as we spoke of the median household income being just a little over $60,000 a year, why am I going to make people pay $1,500 to $2,000, $3,000 in mortgage? I grew up, in all honesty, I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey, where my parents sometimes did have to work paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet with, the mortgage. And I would hate to see people continue to struggle with stuff like that. It's so important that we focus on what's right. And what's right is that we can live without having to worry about if we're going to be kicked to the curb the next day. And in the 10th Congressional District, that is a big issue. Homelessness is very serious in the 10th Congressional District, considering towns such as Newark, Livingston, and other surrounding towns, and the Oranges and all of that. Homelessness is a big issue.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everyone is just taken care of. That is my biggest concern in this campaign, not just for the 10th Congressional District, but also for the United States, because it's just so important for us to clean up this mess.
It is. And there are methods and strategies of which to do so. And a lot of it doesn't come to fruition because of, politics and partisanship and that kind of thing, and budgeting. They're
Right.
funding the police departments exponentially more than they need to be, but in absence of helping the homeless and that kind of thing. And we can
Right,
talk
of
about police
course.
later if you want. Real quick, we got there was a Darth Maul on here. I think he's off my screen now, but that's very cool. I'm just a big Star Wars fan.
Oh, please, so am I. I love Star Wars.
B-side, Berto is asking, how was your experience with the CWOA? How did that come about? I don't know what that means, but go ahead.
So it's the Chief Warrants Association. So it basically worked with the Veterans Association. I did an internship shortly in my junior year of college. And basically what I did was I wrote up letters and presented bills to certain House reps and senators to help veterans in any way that they needed. My internship was very short. I didn't work there for that long. However, it was something that I enjoyed. It just wasn't all for me.
Okay. Hopefully that answers
Short
your
and
question.
sweet. Short and sweet. I got it on LinkedIn. I mean, I applied on LinkedIn.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Let's see. Brooklyn Moreno is saying, John bringing heart to the house, the little party blower.
Yes.
Darth Maul, again, cool name. The Green Party is a new hope. It really is. I mean, the Green Party is just it's the only party that I know of that actually has like stated platform positions, like actual guidelines by which we behave to each other.
Right. Of course. And I'm still actively learning. I'm 24 years old. I will be 25 by the day that I am sworn in, because I was born in January. I'm a January baby, a Capricorn, if you will.
Happy birthday.
So I will be, 25 at the time, but I believe that some parties do need fresh faces. And I believe that I could be the fresh face that, breaks that ceiling for the third parties, not just the Green Party. I don't want to just raise the Green Party. I believe all third parties and independents, all in all, need to be seen. And we need to be seen and represented publicly on a much stronger platform than we are now. We need much more representation, and we need many more Greens.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I had Bill Redpath, who is the chair of the Illinois Libertarian Party, and a friend of mine. I was actually in the Libertarian Party before I came to the Green Party. I've told that story 1,000 times. I won't do it again. But we were talking about just third-party politics and our obstacles thereof and that kind of thing. Ranked choice voting, ballot access. Ballot access is such a huge pain in the butt for us. Because, again, the duopoly has rigged the system against us. That's all that it is. It's not fair. There's no logic behind it, or any other sort of mathematical distribution limitations or anything like that. It's because the ones in power just don't let us get
they don't let us get things done.
They won't because they're afraid if they do that they'll lose, and they will.
Exactly.
Most people I talk to, and that's not like a statistically valid perspective, it's my own personal experience, but almost everybody I talk to does not like the duopoly. They just don't know what else to do.
Right.
So I'm constantly telling them, like, you do have options. You really do. On the ballot, you will have third party candidates. If you're just talking about the presidency, for example, you just have to bite your lip and do it once, and if enough
Exactly.
people do it, we'll get on the ballot and everything will change.
Mhm.
Guaranteed, but it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hold on real quick. I'm losing. There's a lot of here. You're a popular fellow. What, Nick, to 2035, what would be your first action if you get voted in? All right, go ahead.
So upon election, it's like the thought of it is it's so nerve-wracking, but I know exactly what I want to do when I get in. One of the reasons I'm even advocating to get into office and get on that House floor is to stop the division that we're constantly suffering right now. Um, it's horrible. It's horrific. Even with our debates on equal rights and women's rights, those are two big things for me because I myself am a part of the LGBTQ plus community. I want to fight for those rights, and those rights are always, always, always at risk. And one of the first things, and I've talked about this time and time again, is as soon as I get onto that House floor, I would love to just introduce two amendments, the 28th and 29th Amendment, being a women's right to choose.
Beautiful.
And protecting same-sex marriage.
Those
are two of the biggest things.
Again, that's another charge against the duopoly. Even, if the Democrats are like, out of the two, the good guys, if they had decades worth of time to like do these things and they didn't do it, they could have put into the Constitution a right to bodily autonomy, say, in the most sense that would have protected women's rights to abortion or reproductive care.
100%. I 100%
believe they didn't do it.
They did not do it, and that is why the two-party system is so corrupt, because they sit there year in and year out doing nothing until the very last minute when a budget needs to be approved before government shutdown. And that just upsets me. However, I even talked about this in my TikTok that, got me found, was that people are just sitting there in their offices collecting a check, waiting for a government shutdown. However, when a bill gets proposed and put onto the House floor stating that they want to ban TikTok, it's passed within 24 hours.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just, it's not just crazy and it's not just funny. It's also embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
As Congress, and, Congress is supposed to be our leading power, aside from the president and, the Supreme Court. And they just are focusing in the wrong places. I want to go in there and put people to work, put myself to work, because there's so many people who don't even deserve to be in office right now. And
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Exhibit A.
She's unbelievable.
Exhibit A. She is something that is, I don't know if she's from this planet.
I know she's got some issues. But I just remember seeing a little clip of her like in her office complaining about like how, sometimes this is a year-long job and I got to be here for, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, it's a year-long job like everybody else's.
Exactly. It's like all year round. Yeah, exactly. There's times where we're not going to have to be in the office, but when you're there, you should be passing laws for the American people. My point of even running, not even with the Green Party, is to run for the American people, to run for people. I'm tired of people just associating one another with their political affiliation. That is what has sickened me about our country. That change from 2016 up until now, that division that could possibly bring us into a civil war in the near future is extremely concerning. Yeah. It's extremely concerning. And I want to go in there and I want to be able to show the people that, hey, you have your opinion. I have my opinion. Let's compromise, because this isn't about us. This isn't about what you and I believe. This is what the American people need.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. Well said. Javen Espinal says, how does your background and experience contribute to your policies and overall to the role of delegating policy?
Okay. Wow, this is a heavy one.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey initially up until 2006. Um, and then I moved to the suburbs of Garfield, New Jersey, which is something that was exciting for me at the time. I remember being 6 years old and I'm like, oh wow, yay, we get to move. How exciting. Oh my gosh. And I could just tell the difference in living in an urban area versus living in a suburban area. And I just wanted to change it. I just want, like, just looking back, I feel like the whole norm that goes behind suburbia and urban areas is something that needs to be taken away. I absolutely loathe the social norms and normalizing certain things that society deems wrong. And growing up, I was always told the wrong thing. I was always told opposite, or I always heard opposite of what I believed was right. People told me things that were wrong, such as, like gay marriage or, abortion. Growing up, I learned those things, and I learned in my own beliefs and formulating those beliefs that it's okay if you want to marry someone who is the exact same sex as you. It's okay if you want to marry someone who's transgender. It's okay if you want to marry someone who doesn't identify with anything. It's okay if you want an abortion because you can't afford it. It's okay if you want an abortion because you have been sexually harassed in the past. If you don't want an abortion, don't get one. My thing with
Right.
beliefs, and I was always tired of beliefs being forced upon me growing up. I went to Catholic school my entire life, which I am beyond grateful for doing because my parents, no matter what, made ends meet and were able to pay for me to go to these amazing schools where I learned so much and thrived and did so much good work in. And from then on, I knew where I wanted to make a change.
Right.
I knew where changes needed to be made. And I was just always tired of being told what's right and what's wrong instead of being able to formulate my own beliefs
Right.
and my own opinions, and being told sometimes that my opinion doesn't matter.
Ooh.
It's not fun. And Catholic school, it's very strict, it's very different.
Mhm.
I will again, I will always be grateful for where I was and where I've been. But I just want to denormalize that belief of separation in church and state, because people are entangling the two too frequently.
Big time.
And these politicians are going into office. I call them politicians. I don't even call them public servants, because what are they serving? Themselves.
Right.
They're
They're religious based. Yeah.
They're religious based. Many, Republicans are religious based.
Oh, yeah. That's where you find the religious right is in the Republican Party.
And one reason that we have a freedom of religion is so that we can all practice and believe whatever we want to believe in. And for those politicians who are going in and just making laws that go against abortion, that go against gay marriage, that go against anything along those lines, equal pay, even,
Right. How about that?
I don't know where in the Bible it says that, everyone shouldn't be equally paid. I'll even circle to, I'll sidetrack to, in 1946, when the Bible was transcribed, I believe it was 1946, the Bible was transcribed incorrectly, and which forced Christians to believe that being gay was wrong.
Right.
It's something that I've thought about for years and years and years, because because of one mistranslation from Latin to English, homophobia was created and made much worse. I will say, not created, because obviously people could have still been against it before then.
Sure.
I knew I needed to take a stand, and I was tired of being silent. And, with my background and everything, going to Catholic school, it all ties into my policies, my future policies. I'm still currently working on figuring out what policies I want, what policies I believe in, such as my foreign policy. my economics and all that stuff, how I plan on improving the economy, because that is something that needs to be improved big time. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Sorry if I just
inflation.
rambled.
No. That's why you're here, is to talk about where you're coming from, what you're doing, where you're going. Inflation's a huge issue still. Prices of gas all around here have just skyrocketed yet again. Grocery stores are still expensive. Food is still expensive. So like you have to remember, like keep in mind, like just the issue with, they say there's three kind of lies. There's a lie, a damn lie, and then there's statistics.
Yeah.
Statistics
exactly. That's politics.
yeah, like inflation on the federal level is always, calculated as the national average. Well, averages by definition don't apply to specifics that create the average when all summed together. So you can have like a couple like marketing or economic sectors, industrial sectors that just make a bajillion dollars. That's going to raise the GDP, even if like most of the people are still suffering economically. So they're like, oh, the GDP's up. So, big deal.
So what's your thing? One thing I will say, transparently, is I have never been good at math. Math has never been my thing. And that is why that's one of the things I'm learning right now more so of, so that I can understand economics more, because that's one of the most important things right now. We're struggling severely. Yeah. Even household income, the GDP is insane. Gas prices are up. I'm here in New Jersey right now. It's about a couple cents over $3. You travel down to a place like Florida and it's like $3.99 a gallon still. And I'm like,
it's $4.20 here.
Oh, that's insane.
It is insane.
That's unlivable. I wouldn't drive anywhere. That's why I'm also for clean energy and electric vehicles, or I know hydrogen is being experimented on.
Sure.
That's something I want to look
into. And that's the thing too, is like there's all sorts of other options than fossil fuels. All right, real quick, Catherine B, banning TikTok is more important to them than human rights, and it's disgusting. Absolutely. Brooklyn Moreno says, what are your highest priorities for New Jersey and the nation?
Okay, so one of my slogans is advocacy and visibility for all. It is I'm tired. I'm just tired of people being silenced. I am. One of my biggest priorities is for everyone to be heard, and for every single American in this country, to get what they need, to live. No. I just believe living is a human right,
Yes.
I'm tired of seeing the division. I will say that over and over again. We're 50-50 right now. Literally 50-50.
Yeah.
It's insane to see. We've been 50-50 since 2016.
Yeah.
Look at the popular votes. The popular votes in every election from 2016 to now has been almost right down the middle.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
That's division like I've never seen before.
Yeah, I've never seen it in my lifetime. Not this clearly, explicitly.
It's right in front of us.
Yeah, it really is. Good Samaritan LT says all the increases in everything ties back to fuel charges. The oil companies run the world, and that must end. That is also very true. It is all plastic has petroleum in it, all of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not all, but like a vast majority. And I want you to think of how much of our stuff is made of plastic. I mean, petroleum is in pen ink. It's everywhere, and the oil companies are just you're right. They have like this massive hold on the entire economy, because like if we just stopped using it, we would just be utterly devastated.
110%.
We need to wane ourselves off of it for sure. And also Good Samaritan LT is saying it's $3.75 in Ocean County, New Jersey. The gas prices per gallon. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I wish it was $3.75 out here. So it's crazy.
I remember when I was younger, I wasn't even driving at the time. I believe it was during Hurricane Irene. Gas, I remember seeing gas. It was like 190 something, and I'm like, oh, if we could only go back to a 194 per gallon price on gas. That's insane.
It is insane.
I mean, also, I just want to run back to what he said about the oil companies and everything. Big oil it's so powerful, and other companies such as like Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, all of those companies are just sucking us dry
No,
like
it's
a
great.
vampire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it needs to be changed. It needs to be stopped. You know, what Biden did, lowering the price of insulin to $35, lower it more.
Yeah.
I, personally, with someone who has ADHD, I have ADHD myself. I'm also a mental health advocate. So I would love to make, mental health medication more accessible to those who really, really need it. Because there is a shortage on Adderall, for example, because people take advantage of that. Or big pharma chooses not to, distribute as much. They hold back. And that's something that needs to be fixed. That's something there have been times where I had to wait a few weeks to get my prescriptions refilled. And it keeps me from focusing. It keeps me not I promise I'm not crazy.
Okay.
It just, it keeps me from focusing on what's more important and bettering my mental health.
Right.
And I believe that everyone needs that.
Well, absolutely. No, mental health is like central to all health.
Mhm.
If you're not mentally healthy, you're probably not treating your body very well, at least in certain ways,
Exactly.
and that kind of thing. It's central. Literally, your consciousness is central to your identity. So
Mhm.
if you're not able to wield it well, it's not
Right.
going to go well. Good Samaritan LT says in New Jersey the refineries are here, and the people in Elizabeth breathe that crap 365 days a year and 24 hours a day. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, for sure. Did you want to speak on that at all?
I mean, the New Jersey Turnpike is a perfect example because it always smells.
Ugh.
The New Jersey Turnpike from, I believe it starts by like the George Washington Bridge. I'll say by the George Washington Bridge. If you go down the New Jersey Turnpike all the way down past Elizabeth, you're going at least 15 miles down, and it just smells horrible
That
because of
sucks.
all the pollution, all of the air pollution that is just filling the air, and it's disgusting. I have to be brutally honest. It is disgusting. It is the worst smell that I have ever smelled on this planet
Wow.
because these people just don't care. They just keep throwing all this disgusting garbage and chemicals out in the air. And you see the smoke. You see the smoke every day. You see the fires burning the oil at night. You can literally see the flames burning oil into the air. Everything that is just being produced in those factories. And it's horrible.
It is.
And I want our future, the future of America, and even just the 10th congressional district to be able to breathe better air. I'm not going to be one of the people to say breathing is a human right because, yeah, obviously, what are we going to
Clearly.
do? Are Republicans going to sign a law saying that, we don't have a right to breathe next? Like, that's what it
They
feels like.
probably would.
Exactly. Supreme Court is going to rule it 5
Oh
to
my God,
nothing. Like,
that's stupid. Clarence Thomas has been missing for a few days. Did you hear about that?
I've heard through Twitter, and I'm a little confused
Yeah,
because
a lot of
people
people
were
don't.
talking about like surrounding the death of OJ Simpson with that. They was like, I started seeing Twitter threads bringing like, oh, like this
Maybe
person
they were the
passed.
same person.
Where's
No, I'm just
please?
kidding.
Everyone's a clone. Everyone's a
I
clone of
know,
someone.
right?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, real quick, mental health is health. Yes. Welcome to New Jersey. Speaking about the smell, I'm guessing. Ariel is giving a laughing face. And he's also saying, look, Illinois ain't any better. No, he's not. And I was going to mention too, I know that, I don't know where it is exactly, right? I remember driving down back in the 90s. My friend was in a band. And so I go with him to his band
Mhm.
practices. And his studio was in Chicago somewhere. So we drive down this past area, a very industrialized section. And it just all of a sudden reeked. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. It had something to do with corn and maybe making ethanol or something like that. But
Yeah.
it was just disgusting. And you got, come on.
It's a bad smell.
It
I don't
is a
even
bad smell,
it's
and you're right.
rancid.
It is a human right to live amongst beauty, and it really is to make the world beautiful, and not to make it smell or look like hell or anything like that. But aesthetics is a very much an important value to the human condition. The things look nicely and they flourishing in nature and that kind of thing, and a lack of just disgustingness is a right too. Have you heard of Maya van Rossum?
I have not. No.
Okay, so she's been on the show several times. She's the founder of the Delaware River Keepers Project and Green Amendment for the Generations. I'm going to email you a link to her,
Okay.
because she is the one that goes around the country, and we're trying to get her efforts done here in Illinois through the Green Party. Basically, she tries to get, and has succeeded in a couple states, to get the constitutions of those respective states to include an amendment that says that you have a right to a clean environment.
Oh, that would be absolutely amazing. I
That
would
would be
back that
unbelievably
110%.
powerful.
I would back that. I would be the first to back it,
She's
because
always,
that's something that is so important. I just, we can't have green fields and beautiful trees without clean air for
right.
it to breathe, like I miss the days where everything was so beautiful and bright. And
Yeah.
for some reason, to me, this is a little bit of vulnerability outside of professionalism and entangled.
That's good.
Growing up, things were always just, green. Everything was just so bright, and it's so beautiful to me. And I appreciated nature for what it was.
Yeah.
And then for some reason in 2016, I felt that shift that everyone else felt. There was a shift in 2016 where we had an amazing summer. It was the summer of a lifetime. It was so beautiful. And then just this darkness,
You could
cloud.
see it.
You could feel it. You could
Yeah.
see it. Even on election day,
Mhm.
I will say personally, on election day, it was dark, it was cold, and it was cloudy after having a beautiful week. And I don't, I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, obviously not. It's just like you could tell that things were going to change from that moment on. There was a shift. There was a shift. Brooklyn just commented there definitely was a shift in that time. I will never forget that shift, because I haven't been the same person since. For some reason, I've just become so different.
It's true, and you're right. I remember that too. I remember like falling asleep on election night. It was Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and everybody thought Hillary Clinton was going to take it, like no
Oh
problem.
yeah, the
And I went,
Times had it printed and everything. I remember.
yeah, right. And I remember going to bed, and he was ahead at the time. I'm like, whatever. He's going to lose, right? And I remember waking up. It was like 3 a.m. or something like that, and I looked on my phone, and I'm like, he won. I'm like, what? And my entire body reacted.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
And then
exactly
the
what
next
happened.
day I woke up and I was just like, you could feel it. You can cut it with a knife. Like just the entire nation just descended into darkness.
We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And I think millions of Americans now regret what they had done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Republicans who voted for Trump in 2016 or who voted for Trump in 2020, and they regret it so immensely.
Yeah.
And 2020 was like my first presidential election that I was able to vote in, and I made my choices, did not choose Trump, obviously, for obvious reasons. However, I was so scared for my life. And when I heard that Biden won in 2020, I remember just like a little bit, it was like a little bit of light, a little bit of a little bit of light had shown, very little bit of light had shown through. People were so ecstatic, people were so happy, and things were looking great at the beginning. And then unfortunately, yeah. And it's because he received a bad rap now. He's,
Genocide
he's
Joe.
doing everything. Yeah, exactly. And he's not doing everything that he said he would do. He's forgiving millions of student loans.
Yeah, but that's also like under a great
it.
many stipulations and conditions. Like you had to like paid off a certain amount over the last 12 years
Through the SAVE program.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
that
through the
kind of
SAVE
like,
program.
it's like for people who have like non-crushing loans, they have like $10,000-$20,000 in like
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'm in
people
student
had
debt
like
myself.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in school loans, like that kind of thing. What about them?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So real quick, Catherine B said, I literally cried and felt doomed. Yeah, that's perfectly said. Chas Burns, Biden voters regret it more than Trump voters do. That might very well be true because a lot of Trump voters are just like, he's a cult leader. He's weird, man.
It's fascism at its finest. I will
really
be
is.
honest.
This is like
it
the
is
conditions we
fascism.
saw in Nazi Germany before they came to power. Literally, like the violence on the streets and everything else, and
the promotion, like the MAGA hats, the merchandise. I'm sorry, but you don't see Democrats and third parties over here like wearing Green Party hats or Democratic hats or merchandise.
They don't put out propaganda.
Propaganda. That's,
Right.
I knew the word.
No, it's okay.
Just slipped my mind. I was like, what am I trying to say?
No, it's okay.
It's become so politically divided. We have been so focused on one another's political affiliations. And, even after Biden had taken office and still hasn't done much, it puts Trump back in place for winning a second time. And with fascism, I've done my research on fascism, and it's literal brainwash. You are brainwashing a group of people into believing that basically God sent you down from the heavens to save them,
Right.
which makes you a cult leader.
Literally.
It makes you a cult leader, and it's sick. It makes me
It is
so
sick.
sick.
It's vile. And like, there's plenty of videos if you go on YouTube or whatever, TikTok or whatever, of like, journalists interviewing Trump supporters and asking him a question, and like watch them like just, skirt around and answer because they don't have a good one, or watch them answer in complete contradiction to what they
Yeah.
stand for. It's just like, it's so insane to watch this nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the one that said it was like a video of Trump supporters being asked questions about things that Trump had done, but they switched it to be Biden.
Right. Yes.
I love that one. I love that one because it just shows how easily people can be manipulated and brainwashed into believing that,
brainwashed is a good term for that.
100%. If someone's doing the same thing, they're wrong. But if Trump's doing it, oh please, I'm sure he had a reason to do that. Is that brainwash or what?
No, it's crazy. They won't, even allow for him to do anything wrong in their mind.
Exactly.
There was one I saw the other day where like the journalist asked a Trump supporter about like, well, what if somebody like said that they would like, undo the Constitution or overthrow it, something like that. He's like, would that be a deal breaker for you to vote? He's like, oh, absolutely. And so he shows him on like Twitter. He's like, well, Trump said that, right? He's like, oh,
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he meant something else by that. That kind of crap. Like,
exactly. Exactly. It's insane.
Yeah. So Trump merch is insane. That's true. That's what is golden sneakers. What is that?
Oh, those golden
American
sneakers.
Bible. What is
the American Bible signed by Trump? I feel like that's also goes against Christianity to write on the Bible.
Who is buying that? Like, are you really buying that he's a devout Christian? Really?
No, not in the slightest. He's over here saying like so many inappropriate things and acts so inappropriate at times. I mean, even with Christianity in itself, and I can speak for Christianity because I just saw that flash. I was like,
yeah. So there's an intense storm coming here, folks. So if anything shuts down, I apologize. Like possible tornadoes and stuff, but no, we should be okay.
Okay, hope you're okay. But what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
You're a Christian.
Oh yes, I am a Christian. I was born Catholic and I converted to Christianity. And I still believe that gay people should get married. I still believe that a woman has a right to choose. And people like Trump force those strict and conservative Christian beliefs. There's different denominations of Christianity. I just happen to fall
literally over 25,000 since its inception. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so deep. It's so deep to them. And in our realization, tattoos are sin. Like if you want to go that deep, then let's go that deep. Right there.
There you go.
Right there. I'm not afraid to show it. I'm not afraid.
Like, why would a tattoo be like morally problematic? Like, I mean,
exactly. And these tattoos
doesn't equal morality, but I mean,
these tattoos mean something to me. I have 111 on my wrist. It's because that's my birthday, 111, and that's also like my angel number for someone who passed away in my life who I believe is watching over me.
That's right.
And then even on my upper arm, I can't show you right now, but it has my mom, my dad, and says always with me. I will only always get meaningful tattoos. That's just personal. But tattoos they're things that if you want to get a tattoo, get a tattoo. If you want to get a piercing, get a piercing. That's also a sin for those of you who don't know. Mm-hmm. That's also deemed a sin if you really want to look deep into it. But God gave us free will. Speaking as a Christian, God gave us free will, and Jesus died for our sins. Jesus died for us to live. And
Mhm.
at the end of our lives, he will forgive us for everything that we have done, no matter what, as
That's
long as we
beautiful.
lived.
That's
It's
beautiful
beautiful.
sentiment. That is a beautiful sentiment. So okay, these comments are coming in faster than I can read them. Cass Burns, Trump nor Biden are Christians. That there's an argument there for sure. Catherine B, it's like how they deface the American flag in the name of Blue Lives Matter. Yes,
Yep,
that's an
correct.
interesting little twist of things there. Ariel, remember though, Biden and Hillary were against gay marriage and until they had to breadcrumb us. Yes, that is true. They were.
That
I
is
saw a
true.
video of Biden saying it, I think during the
It was at
Obama
the
campaign.
vice presidential debate of
Uh-oh.
2008. Biden and Palin had finally come to an agreement on one thing, and that was being against gay marriage. And it just that goes to show that someone like Obama, who was also against gay marriage at the
Yeah,
time, and in 2015, he knew what was right for the people.
right.
He knew what needed to be done for the people. It didn't matter what he believed at that time, not talking politically, but as a person, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's unfortunate that they did it merely for political reasons. So I think they were just trying to throw me to their base. But yes,
Exactly.
it was a good step forward. That's part of but people are disgusted with politics because there's so much disingenuousness and just hypocrisy. Like they'll change their moral principles based on gaining votes and like okay,
Right.
well, that's weird. Ariel saying tattoos are artistic expression and that's all. That's true. It's artistic. It's art.
Exactly. And once someone told me this one thing once about tattoos, I will say it. Tattoos are one of the only things you take to the grave with you.
Oh, that's
you
fine.
know, that's
Yeah,
the one
that's true.
thing you die with on your body. That's one memorable thing that you can take with you. That's on your body forever. I
Yeah.
that's a good sentiment to me.
That is a good sentiment. And I hung out with, people, the tatted people like most of my life.
Mhm.
I didn't get my first one till I was 42 because I wanted to make damn sure I was not gonna like one day regret it. So like, I love my tattoos. Love them to
I
this day.
didn't get mine until this year, till I turned 24 in January.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's never too late to get a tattoo. I don't want to be covered in tattoos. That's not my thing, but if I'm going into Congress, when I win in Congress, I'm going to be wearing a suit and jacket. It's not like I'm, flaunting tattoos. I don't plan to get a sleeve. I don't plan to get a face tattoo, teardrops, whatever it is. That's not my plan, and I'm allowed to get tattoos. I have the freedom to express myself just as everyone else in this country does.
Yeah, exactly. And I could probably spend a lot of time talking about like piercings and tattoos and
Oh,
the
100%.
community thereof, just because I remember back like in the 80s, I'm just slightly a bit older than you are, John. But like where you were still like, a delinquent or something was socially wrong with you if you had tattoos and long hair. This is
Mhm.
the epic era of like heavy metal and dudes with long hair and earrings and
Right.
everything else and tatted up. And nowadays it's more socially common for people to have cheerleaders have them and like,
Mhm.
housewives have and like also all
It's
sorts of social
normalized
barriers
now.
have broken down. And you know what, it's okay. These people are still have a work ethic. They're highly functioning people. It's okay. you
Yeah.
know
Exactly. That's what this generation has learned. My generation, though I do not like to associate very much
right.
with Gen Z, because sometimes they
Sure.
do embarrass others. I'm a 2000 baby. I was born January 11th, 2000. I was born at the beginning of the age of information,
There you
and
go. There you go. Yeah.
I don't like to associate myself with Gen Z half the time because it's, because
But they're a
it's
lot
just
more tolerant of these sorts of
yes.
social dispositions than the older the adults back in the 80s,
Of
70s.
course. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Took
No,
the words right out of my mouth.
I was watching like a behind the scenes of. Do you remember? Do you ever heard of the Monkees, the band and the show from the '60s?
No.
Okay, you probably heard some of their
I'm sure
songs.
my mom has or
Yeah.
something,
So
but
anyway, they were like getting a lot of pushback because they had long. There were guys who had long hair. Their hair was probably just a little bit longer than yours.
oh.
Like I mean, so like things have changed considerably.
Oh, see,
Like,
and mine is like dried up. I blow dried my hair and everything for
oh,
this,
nice.
so so it's probably longer.
Yeah, right.
But
So we got about 10 minutes left, 7, 8 minutes left here. Let's talk more about so like okay, economics is something that is economics is extremely complex, very complicated. Um, one of the things I've been reading this book about economics, and growth systems and that kind of thing is that a lot of economists nowadays, and this goes back to Adam Smith, like the founder of capitalism, and Karl Marx, the founder of Marxism. They both said that nature holds no quality. All quality comes from labor and human effort, which is a very, very bad way to look at economies, because there's no such thing as nature without value. Everything comes from the resources of nature. So when you start destroying nature, you start destroying your ability to live well, which is what we're doing on a global scale. And so it's something I hope that each of you would like look into. Not necessarily this book, Limits of Growth, but there's all sorts of videos and stuff online. John Michael Greer, Greer. He's actually a druid. He's like a pagan druid. He's one of the most brilliant people I've ever read. Has a lot of very interesting things to say about that, because it's important that we realize that nature holds most of the value. Anyway, but let's talk about freedom of speech is something I want to talk about, or freedom of expression, which Brooklyn Moreno just pointed out, freedom of expression, talking about tattoos. The book bannings and stuff like that are going on across the country. Okay. Is that even an issue in New Jersey? I don't know.
No,
okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Literally, you can read whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, as long as it's, it's just inappropriation, if just don't read an 18 plus book in front of a playground, that's I feel like that's logic.
Of course there's appropriate age appropriate literature. There's of course there is. I'm not, somebody under the age of 12 shouldn't be reading anything, what has, say sexual content in it. Of course they are. Of course there is. But like, it seems to go on like just off the wall crazy in some of these states. Ron DeSantis I think he's just like pure evil, personally. The governor of Florida. He's a crazy.
He has gone absolutely nonstop with the book bannings and everything. Barry is saying that there are schools that are banning in New Jersey. They're banning books, which is actually news to me. That's something that is
okay.
I never even knew. Okay. Like I said, I am still learning. So Barry, thank you so much for the information. I definitely will look into that more now, because I believe in, staying educated, and I'm still learning.
Of course. No. There's so much to learn, especially when you're involving yourselves directly, participating directly in politics. There's 8 bajillion little things in
literally I'm learning like the ins and outs. Like I've read like so many manuals and so many things that I need to do, like a tax EIN. I had to register a tax EIN with the IRS. I was like, huh?
Tax laws and tax protocols. Oh, that's got to be it.
Yeah, I'm diving into those, and I'm doing it myself because I want to be able to know the ins and outs. Sure. I'm doing it myself. I'm not, I have interns and I have people. I have a campaign manager who is actually in the chat, Jay, who has been, cool. Working with me. And Jay actually started yesterday, which is such a big deal to me. And I thank him so much for coming onto my team. And we're going to get the good work done. Good. But I want to know everything. I want to know anything and everything possible, the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly. I want to know everything that has to do with politics, just so I can do it right. I don't want to do anything wrong. I don't want to spread misinformation. I just want to spread the truth.
Truth is important. Okay, Chaz Burns is saying our rights are a joke. The Constitution has been trashed by legislators and courts. That's true. So something I heard recently was a quote. It came from a TV show. I don't remember what it was, but it was spot on. The Constitution means what the Supreme Court at the time says it means, which changes over time. You want to find the most inconsistent branch of our government. It's the Supreme Court.
It is the Supreme Court.
It's ridiculous that 9 people get to decide like the fate and behavioral patterns of like 300 plus million other people is ridiculous. It's stupid.
It is obviously ridiculous. I believe, there could be a possibility in the future where we have a Supreme Court justice from each state.
There you go. Oh, that'd be fun.
I mean,
I never even thought about that. That's a good idea.
That sounds like something that is proper representation, such as in Congress. Based on the population, you have a certain amount of delegates.
Right.
Okay. Add one more for the Supreme Court justice that we, the people, put on to that Supreme Court.
Yeah. No, that they're appointed by the president alone, and then, okayed or
the vetting process and all of that.
That's just dumb. Okay, so Good Samaritan LT, is that Barry?
Yes, it is Barry.
Okay, so I've created a cheat sheet for creating an EIN. I'll get it to you ASAP. Okay, cool.
I already did it. I already did the tax EIN. I figured it out. I learned. I did my research. I did my
That's
learning,
great.
and
And
I figured it out.
the Good Samaritan LT is also saying, who doesn't remember the Dred Scott case? That's exactly what I had in mind, Barry,
Yeah.
when I said that. Is that like the Terrence or Tarney or something like that was the Supreme Court justice who said, of course the founding fathers meant that black people didn't have right to representation. Of course that's what they meant. So you don't get to do
It was just
this.
through assumption. It was just through assumption. Like
Yeah,
it's not stated specifically in there that
well,
black
at
people
the time
don't
they
have.
still had the 3/5 clause.
Yeah.
Which means that black. Yeah, read American history, folks. It's not.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Also, when it comes to one of the more touchy topics of our Constitution is the Second Amendment, which I do want to bring up because that is something that is a big deal. I was also a substitute teacher for a short amount of time, for about 2 years, so I worked in education. And it's scary to think that someone can just walk up in there with an assault rifle, and next thing you know, I have to protect my students. And I always went into work with that thought. And I've been told over and over, you can't go into to work with that thought. You can't do that. You're only making it worse for yourself. I'm like, how could I not? How can I not be scared for my life? Anywhere I go now, I could go to the mall and someone could pull out a gun. But my thing is, I don't want to take people's guns away. I simply want to regulate how people can get their guns. I do not want to touch the Second Amendment. You have a right to bear arms based on the United States Constitution. And I don't want to take that away from you. I simply want to make sure that it's not falling into the wrong hands. And that's what Republicans don't seem to understand. As soon as they hear the Second Amendment, they're like, oh, well, they want to take away our guns. No one wants to take them away. No one wants to stop you from hunting. No one wants to do
or even protecting your home.
Protecting your home. I would love to protect my own home. Like if in the future I would buy a gun to protect myself. Because in my home, I would just, if someone were to break in, I want to make sure that my family is protected.
Yeah, exactly. That the Second Amendment's a hot button topic now.
It's a hot button topic. Just with abortion and same-sex marriage, all that. Yep.
Right.
Hot button topic.
And Catherine B is saying majority of them are Christians too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm assuming she's talking about the Supreme Court. Yeah, as far as I know, they all are.
They are.
Brooklyn Moreno says very well spoken. Great job. I'm assuming she's talking to you. Founders intended for one representative for every 30,000 people. Yeah, so that's no longer the case. Yeah, the massive population growth, that's another issue.
Yeah.
Mabel Torres says she does that also as a sub, referring to what you did as a sub.
Yes.
And Chaz Burns says the Red Coat simply wanted to regulate. It was the shot heard around the world. Okay. So Micah is agreeing 100%. We got like 2 minutes left here. Did you want to just kind of wrap it up and just promote yourself, your campaign?
Oh, please, by all means. So right now what I'm doing is beyond important. And to anyone who's watching, I want you to know that this election is going to make or break the future of America.
It's a big one.
In every district, in every state, in the entire country, for the presidency, the House, the Senate, it's all at risk right now. We are 1 inch away from completely dividing. And the next thing you know, we could end up in a civil war. Some states could be seceding from the Union, and it's so scary. And I want you to know that I intend to go in there and tear this system up in the proper way, in a way that is the best way possible. And I don't want to change things. I'm looking to make a difference. I don't want to change what anyone believes in. I just want to make the difference.
Right.
Because I've had dreams about being in that House floor. Since I started my campaign, I've had dreams of what I intend to do. And as soon as I get in there, I just want to stop that division, walk in the middle of that aisle, and sit on whatever side I want to that day. Because It doesn't matter. I remember there was a time where people were sitting next to one another, depending on what party. But if you want to know more about me and my campaign, you can go ahead and head over to my website, which is John S for House of Reps .wixsite.com, or you can go to my Instagram, John S for House of Reps, and the link is in the bio there.
Okay, there you go. That's awesome. Real quick, we got Go Green, John 2024 from Ariel, Brooklyn Moreno, John 2024. Richie Dubarton, agreed, John 2024. Micah, hey, hey, ho, ho, the two-party system has got to go. True. All right, well, thank you so much for coming. That was fast, man. That's because,
Yeah, that flew. And listen, when we're having
crazy.
a good time talking, it's just, the time flies.
It really does. So, I applaud your ambition and your tenacity and your willingness to do this. Very much so. That's very cool. We got a long road ahead, but we can do it.
Thank you so
sure.
much. I do want to thank you as well, because this is such a big opportunity, not just for me, but for the Green 13.
Yeah.
That is such a big deal, and I really want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. And if you're ever wanting to have me back, I am more than willing to come back.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. When we get closer to the election day, I would love to have all the candidates come on back on. Absolutely, because you're going to get updates on your campaign and how it's going for sure. Yeah. And I want to real quick apologize for my lighting in this room is awful. That's why I keep doing this, so you can see my face a little bit better. Not that that's worth anything.
Oh, please, you should see it. My lighting setup and everything is just like, you don't want to see behind the scenes.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, you're very popular here. We got a lot of people that.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much.
That's a good sign for sure. So thank you everybody for tuning in. John Serrano, Green Party candidate. For 10th Congressional District, right?
The 10th Congressional District of New Jersey.
So what does 13 mean when you guys mentioned
so the Green 13 consists of the 13 delegates that are, we're running. So we're running for the 12 districts of New Jersey, and then we have one person, Christina, running for the Senate.
I think I have two other New Jersey candidates, Green Party candidates, coming on the show. I think most of this came through, if not all, through Ariel. So thank you very much.
Yeah, major shout out to Ariel, who found me, who has been working with me so much. Amazing, has been nothing but a great help and great networking, let me tell you.
Ariel's going to do some things for the show too, like create a logo and help me out.
So I heard. We just filmed my promo yesterday. So
right on. That's great. Yeah, I'm not tech savvy. I don't know. I can do about this much right here. So all right, very cool. Thanks everybody for tuning into the Illinois Green Party series. I'm your host, David Rich. Till next time, be good, be green.
Thank you guys.
Yes, thank you. Hold on a second, John.
Mm-hmm.
There's a delay.